There are a lot of people that are Christians in title, but not in pursuit. I need to be a Christian in pursuit. I need to pursue God. I need to pray more, study more, listen more, learn more. If you want to use marketing in today's time where people are like so inundated with marketing messages, you need to get creatives. Because what I see is people will have like a variety of coaches and they won't even trust themselves enough to know which coach to listen to at which time.
Energy high, excuses low. Energy high, excuses low. Energy high, excuses low. Energy high.
Hey guys, it's Ashley Kirkwood from the Speak Your Way to Cash podcast. And first I want to say I missed y'all. It's been a minute since I've done a solo episode on here, and I am back, y'all. And I want to let you know that first, on this episode, I'm going to give you 5 lessons of 2024. And then weekly, you'll start seeing some coaching episodes from me where I actually engage with some of my mastermind level clients and coach them live on this platform. I think that's going to be so good because you will get to see, 1, how I coach, but 2, how we think through business problems that I'm sure many of you out there are having. So leave me a comment. Let me know if you missed these solo episodes. This particular day, we're going to talk about the 5 biggest lessons of 2024. And we're going to get into it, and I'm going to keep it real because that's what we do on this show. All right. Lesson number 1 is trust yourself. Okay. 2024 was one of those years. I feel like 2024 was my bounce back year. Like, it was the year that I was like, okay, 2023 ended a little rough. 2024, we're bouncing back better than ever. And I wanted to make sure that the pains of my past didn't make the decisions of my future. And so this was the year where I really had to learn to trust myself. I had coaches that are amazing. I have a pastor that is incredible. I have family members that are outstanding. But this was a year where I had to get really clear on what God is saying to me. And I don't want to say that in like a cliche way. I think there's been times in my life where I felt like, you know, maybe God was talking to me, but I couldn't really put my finger on it. I didn't really know if it was him or not. And I was just kind of like in this fuzzy zone. And this year I got really intentional. Every time I felt God was talking to me, I would write it out. I would read the Bible. I would actually, okay, I'm gonna give y'all a tip. Do not judge me, because you know the saints be judgy. But I would literally go to ChatGPT. I use ChatGPT like a concordance. I just think of ChatGPT as like a modern day concordance. And I would go to ChatGPT and I would like, give me examples of Bible stories where God told a prophet this. And it would just pull up a list for me, and then I would go to my Bible and I would look through and see if what God was saying to me aligned with the word of God, if there were any other examples where that word or that message or the experience I was dealing with at that time was something that lined up biblically. And then I would study that part of the Bible, and then I would pray again, and I would ask God for clarity and signs. And so I was just more intentional about pursuing God, and that aligns very well with trusting yourself. Here's what I'll say. There are a lot of people that are Christians in title, but not in pursuit. And so I have been that way. I've been a Christian in title, like, oh, I believe in God. But like, I just came to a point in my life, and if any of you have been there, just let me know in the comments, but I just came to a point in my life where I was like, I don't need to be a Christian in title. I need to be a Christian in pursuit. I need to pursue God. I need to pray more, study more, listen more, learn more, dive deeper, talk more about my faith. I didn't want to be a secret believer. Like, I needed that, because how can I trust myself if I don't trust the one who created me, right? And so I had to develop a deeper trust for God. Even for the lessons and the hard times that I've been through in my life, I had to find some level of meaning to those times. So number 1 was trusting yourself. Now in business, that looked like creative ideas that I got, or visions that I got, or dreams that I had, actually implementing them fast, because I trusted myself. And that paid off time and time again. In 2024, you guys, we actually lost access to our email list. Our email list was 56,000 strong. And we were having between 20 on a low end and 50% open rates. Imagine losing your ability to communicate with your audience. You know how people be like, have an email list, you own that. Well, you don't own the servers, and you don't own the deliverability, and you don't own the open rates. And so we did all that. We had an email list, and thank God we had a social media following and the ability to run paid ads, because our ability to get our emails out wasn't working. And so we pivoted really quickly And we started doing micro events, like in-person micro events around Atlanta. We did a tour. We did all of these little micro events around the country. And so I say micro, that means like to us, if it's 50 people or less, that's a micro event. So we would do these micro events all around the country just to reach and touch people. And I was posting more on social media, and thank God I did, because that was actually how I was able to communicate with my audience, that and text message marketing. But I had to trust myself and say like, okay, this email list is acting crazy. How do we still reach people? Let's run ads to a local event. Let's get it done. So that brings me to number 2, creativity wins. There are some people that'll say like, oh, it doesn't take all that. You don't need to do all that. But if you want to use marketing in today's time where people are like so inundated with marketing messages, you need to get creative. So I don't know if you all saw our campaign for Black Women Sell Live, but we really got creative. We used a superhero theme. We made a whole commercial for it. We rented out a studio with like a green screen. I wrote a whole script. Like, we really got creative. We used people in our community to act. We made, I think we made like 6 commercials for the event, 7 commercials to be played during our live event, and all of it worked out. Like, it was one of our bigger launches, not our biggest launch, but it was one of our bigger launches. I think it was probably our 2nd largest live event launch. That launch ended up doing over $1.6 million in revenue. And I think a big piece of it was creativity, not just in the way we marketed, but creativity in the way that we delivered the event. And I'm gonna tell y'all, if I were to explain to you what we did at that event verbally, it would not even make sense. And so when I say creativity, let me break this down very simply for those of you watching. Number 1, get creative in the way that you market. How can you leverage themes? How can you leverage acting? How can you leverage scripts? How can you get creative in the way that you market? How can you leverage, I know that you have brand colors, I have brand colors, but we went outside of our brand colors. We kept our brand essence, but we went outside of our brand colors and we made our ads look different. Like, how can you get creative? Like, I have not always felt that I was a creative, but I actually am. And I'm leaning into that more and more and more in the way that I market, the way that I sell, the way that I deliver my products and services. If you have a cool idea and it sounds a little crazy to other people, that might be because that's your idea to execute and you don't need the opinions of other people infecting that idea. Sometimes you do need feedback. Other times you don't need feedback. And this goes back to number 1 of trusting yourself, because what I see is people will have like a variety of coaches and they won't even trust themselves enough to know which coach to listen to at which times, which questions to ask, which person. All of that comes with a level of discernment that only comes when you trust you. So you want to get really clear on trusting yourself so that you can be creative and you won't let outside forces diminish your creativity because they don't understand it. I've literally had friends that are like, I don't know if you should do that. And that'll be the very thing that could bring in another $500,000, $1 million in revenue for our company. So be creative. Look at Pinky Cole. She's so creative. Like, I mean, you go to her restaurant and she be like, I don't know if I can say it on YouTube. My husband went to Slutty Vegan and he was like, he went to the restaurant and he walks in, and y'all know Chris is super like, Chris is one of the most conservative people I know. So he walks in Slutty Vegan. I wish I was there. Oh my God, I would have so recorded and put it online. They go, "What up, slut?" And he's like, "Excuse me?" And I'm like, bro, did you not look this place up? But it's so creative because he was saying that like everyone who worked on her team who was there would say these little things. Like even in the kitchen, they're yelling out different terms and phrases, and the names of the stuff is like one night stand and all of that. That is creativity. Am I saying you need to go vulgar? No, but I'm saying that you should be creative. And I bet when she first had that idea that everybody did not support that because seriously? But look, it's great. She built a whole empire. And so be creative. Get into that childlike creativity to grow your business. If you find that you are bored with your business, I guarantee your customers are too. Okay? So if it don't excite you, you're not gonna have enough excitement to tell them, get them excited, and then that excitement just carries over. If you are not excited about your business, if you are not impressed with your marketing, if you are not interested in listening to your own podcast, why would anyone else? If you don't have that level of fun, excitement, and creativity, you need to switch it up, okay? So number 3, lean into community and in-person experiences. You guys, this year we went on tour. We did live events at our local libraries. I have something coming out soon for my mastermind where I'm gonna literally walk them through our live event strategy. So stay tuned for that. If you're in the mastermind, wink, wink. But one of the things that we did was we really leaned into community this year. When we went on tour, we asked people, hey, do you want to come out to this tour? Do you want to volunteer? Do you want to work at the tour? When I needed to hire people locally, I hired from my community this year. When I needed a makeup artist, a videographer, a photographer in different states, I went on Instagram and just asked people, hey, I need an in-home masseuse, I need an in-home makeup artist. And the community came through. So lean into community, let people know what you're doing and allow them to support it. And one of the reasons I didn't do this in the past is who wants to get rejected, right? Like, I think there's a piece of this that's like, the reason we don't lean into community, the reason we don't ask for help is because people can reject us. But when you're a leader, I think that it's one, alternative thought here, I think that it's good for you to be rejected every now and then because it reminds you of what you're asking your clients to go through every time they learn something new, right? Two, if you don't ask, you don't know what's in your community. There are so many incredibly talented cash leads that I just would have never known were in our community, but for me asking and putting it out there that we needed that help, letting them know that we needed, affiliates for our event, letting them know that we needed a venue for our tour. We're looking for a venue in New York, by the way. Just soft plug. If you are in New York, 2025, we're trying to come to y'all, but y'all venues is just not on your side. So let me know if you have a cool venue in New York. So we leaned into community and in-person experiences. Look, everything's online. Everything is online. I want you to get offline this year. I want you to not break the bank, but I want you to host a pop-up at a local restaurant. I want you to have people meet you at your local bar. I want you to get involved in your community and get used to talking in person about what you do in a way where people can refer you and where people can work with you, okay? In-person experiences have built this multi-million-dollar company, getting up close and personal with people. And look, I get it because I'm an extrovert, but I'm a one-to-many person. I am actually better one to hundreds, one to thousands. I actually don't love one-to-one experiences. I think that, I don't know why, it's just not my favorite thing. I'm not, that's why we don't offer VIP days. We don't offer certain things unless you're in our $100,000 program because I feel like I can best serve one to many. Depending on who the person is, I can, you give me your business issue one-on-one, I could tear that thing up, but it just depends. It just depends. In terms of networking events, I don't love going to networking events and having to walk up to people and be like, hey, what's your name? I don't love the whole song and dance. It feels inefficient to me. But I like hosting in-person experiences, and I will do one-to-one interactions, and I will go up to people because I know that it helps build community and it helps for people to see that I am a real person, okay? I am not an influencer behind a camera. Y'all, influencer is a job title? That is not what I do, okay? But I have influence. It doesn't mean I'm an influencer. Influencer is like a job title. Influence is a person's ability to persuade a group of people to take a certain amount of action. Believe it or not, there are some influencers without influence. And there are some people with influence who don't work as influencers. That's a whole story for another day. But I do like one-on-one because it just gives people that know, like, and trust. And can I give you a pro tip? When the economy is economying, people need to see you. They need to feel you, and they need to trust you. Case in point, we had 54 people join our mastermind at our last event. 34 of those people came to something in person with me before joining our program. That's more than half, y'all. So what does that tell me? That tells me that I need to make sure I'm building connections and relationships in person with people. There are some of y'all making business decisions without no data, okay? Ain't seen a data point yet. Data ain't nowhere to be found in your business plans. But even if I don't personally enjoy something, because there are always gonna be things in business that you don't personally enjoy. Even if I don't personally enjoy it, before I exit out of our marketing plan, you know what I do? I look at the numbers, I look at the data, and I ask my team, hey, how many people who just purchased from us came to something in person? How many came to a tour stop? How many came to a library event? How many came to this type of event? Okay, and the average amount of launches that our clients came to before joining our mastermind was 6. 6. We do a launch every single month. We do some level of activation every single month. And in 2025, I believe we'll on average probably do 7 to 14 launches a year. We won't do less than 6. Why? Because people came to at least 6 before buying with us. Last year, we probably did about 20. I don't know if we'll do 20, but we won't do less than 6, okay? So we may move to an every other month model, but for the most part, every month, there is some level of activation at Speak Your Way to Cash that is happening. And the reason why that's important is because when we look at the frequency of touch points that our people have, it's 6, okay? And so you want to think about that. If people aren't buying from you, it may be because they need more touch points. And think about this, 6, our brand has been in existence since 2018. 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. We're 7 years old. So if your brand just started or it's a little bit newer or it's not as established, you may need more touch points. So even with an established brand, people need more contact, more touch points to build that know, like, and trust, okay? And when there is a recession or anything happening with the economy, spending doesn't stop, it slows. What does that mean? It may be more challenging to get the same sale that you would have gotten in a better economy. It doesn't mean you won't get it. It may mean you'll have to put a little bit more effort in and more creativity to actually get that sale, okay? So lean into community. Now, number 4 biggest lessons. Silence all negative noise. There are so many people right now spewing negativity. Oh, it's not gonna work out. Oh, my business ain't gonna work. Oh, my toe hurts. Look, let me tell you how you're gonna be successful. Don't listen to them folks. Do not listen to them people. If they are negative, move them on along. I will never forget, there were some people that were really struggling in business and they all got together and were talking about how their sales were going down. And I was listening to it. And with all the business knowledge that I know, even though our sales hadn't taken as big of a dip as like the folks around me, I started getting all these thoughts of like, what happens if sales go down? What happens if the event doesn't work? What happens if this happens? And why did I have those thoughts? Because I let them negative folks talk to me for about an hour, 90 minutes about how all this stuff wasn't gonna work out. It is literally like feeding yourself poison if you let people who are negative speak into your hearing for any amount of time. But the longer you listen to them, the worse it gets. Thankfully, because I believe in something called policing your thoughts, I was able to catch those negative thoughts and redirect them positively, okay? And so I want y'all to know, if you got friends that are negative, family that is negative, in this upcoming year and even right now, I want you to cut it off. Oh, mama, let me call you back. Oh, cuzzo, let me call you back. Oh, I'm so sorry that's happening in your business. I'ma pray for you. I'ma go. I don't got nothing to offer it. Like, silence all negative thoughts. And if you are the one feeding yourself negative thoughts, then you need to be praying. You need to be reading your Bible. You need to be, if you don't believe in the Bible, baby, read something positive. Read a Napoleon Hill book. Read Outwitting the Devil, okay, by Napoleon Hill. It's not even a Christian book. It's a very good book. Read that book. Like, read positivity. Listen to positive podcasts. Before my business was generating a ton of revenue, you guys, every day I'd wake up, I'd listen to Side Hustle Pro, How I Built This with Guy Reyes, and I think there was one other podcast. This was before I started the Speak Your Way to Cash podcast. And I would just listen to that all the time about how people built, how they scaled, how they overcame challenges, how they made a lot of money, maybe lost it, how they sold their businesses, because I needed to listen to people who were either where I was at, ahead of me, or who had overcome worse things than I had overcome, so that I had a good vantage point for where I was going. But what you listen to really does matter. So you gotta silence all the negative noise, replace it with something positive. Okay, the 5th thing. This is probably the first thing, but it's the 5th thing on this list. You need to put God first. Now, I know that not all of us believe in the same things, but you need to believe in something, because there's like a lot of science that supports people who have a strong belief system actually live longer and are overwhelmingly more positive in life. I believe in God because I've tried not, and it just didn't work out for me. So it's just it's not even like my parents told me to do this. It's like, it is just, I am my best when I am governed by that set of principles, right? Christian principles. And this year, I feel like I really put God first in my life, and it was just beneficial. Like, I should have always been putting God first, but this year I really felt like I made a tangible choice to realign my values and put God first, and it really blessed my life. So if anyone wants to rededicate their lives to Christ, it's not too late. You could start with just 10 minutes of prayer a day, maybe 5 minutes of prayer, 5 minutes of reading one scripture on the Bible app, like whatever your start looks like. If you are someone who's watching this and you want to rededicate your life to God, I really think that you should. And not only that, me putting God first required me to pray for godly friendships. And almost instantly, I feel like, maybe in a couple of weeks after that prayer, our pastor introduced us to some really great people, and they were all young couples. They were all on the same path. They were all trying to go in the same direction. They were all successful in business and also believers. And it's just been great. Like this year, I've just met so many amazing people who love God, who live by the same set of principles, who aren't just Christians in name, but are also Christians in pursuit. And that has been great for an iron sharpens iron type of friendship, and friendships that'll tell you when you're wrong, that will pray with you, that will fast with you. I had never had a friend that like would call me and be like, girl, I'm gonna fast with you on this house. Like when we bought our house, one of my friends, shout out to Kendra, was like, girl, I'm gonna fast with you. We gonna fast. And not just fast, she sent me like 30 prayer points. She was like, this is what we praying for. And it was things on that list that I just would have never thought about. It was like, I pray that, I pray that we move into a neighborhood where I can have friends. And I'm a not know my neighbors type of person, just to be real. Like we've lived in our house in Chicago, we still own that house. I don't know them neighbors' names. I'm gonna just be real with you. I mean, if you're my neighbor and you're watching this, God bless it. But like, I don't know your name. And I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying I'm a mind your business type of neighbor, okay? So to have that on like the prayer list, I was like, oh, I would have never thought of that. And sure enough, the people we bought the house from, she was like, well, I want some more mom friends. And I was like, okay, look at God. Maybe I can know some names in the neighborhood. And so now, where we live now, like I know a lot of my neighbors. I'm on the tennis team. Like I can go grab lunch with the girls. Like it's really, really fun. And I just would have never even thought that that was something that I desired. And I think that one of the great things that happens when you put God first and you ask for godly relationships is you start getting blessings you would have never even thought to pray for, because it isn't in your consciousness. And so I pray God's best over your 2024 and over your 2025. And I would just say that if this year wasn't the best for you, make a plan for your next year to be better. So one thing we're doing to make sure 2025 is exceptional, we have already planned out all our 2025 dates. I know when I'm gonna meet with my mastermind. I know when I'm gonna have all of my in-person launches. I've already planned the dates for the 2025 tour. We're looking at venues now. Like we've already booked venues. We can now negotiate with vendors, bulk negotiation rates, because I know all of my events that are coming up. I can book my flights in advance. So like we have really planned it out. And I planned it in a few different categories that I want to tell you guys about if you are planning your dates, okay? 2024 was also good because we made the Inc. 5000 list. And Chris, it had his birthday this year. He has a birthday every year, but this year was special. He really, really, really wanted this watch. And while we were at the Inc. 5000 Awards Gala, I got Chris his first Rolex. So he was like floored because I told him, he was like, I want a Rolex. And I was just like, I am not getting no Rolex. I'm not spending all that money for a watch. And he was like, well, the watch could be less than your golf cart. And I'm like, oh my gosh, whatever. But he had no idea. Like if you go to my Instagram, you can kind of see his reaction to getting it, but he was so shocked. But Chris actually never asked for anything lavish. We don't really do gifts. So in our marriage, we're not big gift people. Like I don't be like, oh, I need a Hermes bag. I don't know if I said that right. Because I don't even carry purses if you know me. Like, like literally on my last trip, Chris was like, go to Nordstrom's and get a purse because you can't just be walking around with this book bag. So, but we don't ask each other for like lavish gifts. So when I found out he wanted it, I was like, I'm definitely gonna get it because he never asked for anything lavish. And now that that door is open, I will for sure make sure to ask for very lavish gifts in the future as well. Okay, so when you're planning your year for 2025, this is how we set down our year. We planned for our public events. We put these categories on a Google Doc. All our public events, any events that the public is open to come to. Our family vacations, because if you do not plan your family vacations in advance, that calendar will fill up. This year we did our sabbatical and then we didn't take no other real vacations. And we're not doing that next year. We're taking a vacation and we're doing our sabbatical in January. We planned all our mastermind events. So every event I'm gonna do with my mastermind. We planned Christelle's school schedule. So all of her, every day she's off of school, I'm off of work. So we gotta plan that in advance. All of my tennis dates, because y'all know I'm on 3 competitive tennis teams now. A win is coming soon, okay? Just when I start winning at my matches, I'm gonna let y'all know. So all my tennis dates, because I'm on tennis teams, my quarterly solo sabbaticals, because 4 times a year, I'm gonna take a weekend to myself. Family days, every Saturday we try to do a family day, but we wanna put it on the calendar, that way we make sure we do one every week. Holidays, date nights, any concerts that I wanna go to or conferences for the year. So those are the categories. And then I actually research what conferences do I want to go to, what concerts do I want to go to. And I reach out in advance because I like getting a sweet child because I like to go how I like to go. So we got to plan. And I used to think that planning was like a prison, like it limited creativity, I wouldn't be ready, but planning is actually freedom. So if you have not planned your 2025 dates, that gives you some categories to plan them, even down to like if you're gonna go and visit your family, because our family's out of town, you should put that on your calendar. When are you gonna visit your family? What holidays are you gonna host so that you can book in advance? Are you gonna decorate your house? Are you gonna hire a decorator? You gotta plan that in advance. In our neighborhood, the Christmas decorator lady be getting booked up. So just think through your 2025 plan. Maybe I'll do another video on annual planning if you all want that. Just drop it in the comments and I'll set something up for that. But yeah, those are my top 5 biggest lessons of 2024. So number 1, trust yourself. Number 2, creativity wins. Number 3, lean into community and in-person experiences. Number 4, silence all negative noise. Number 5, put God first. And a bonus is plan your year now. This video is coming out early November. So plan your year now. Everything you want to go to, every vacation you want to take, plan it now so that you can have a stress-free time. And for my parents, y'all know we got to get childcare. So plan this stuff in advance. All right, guys, hopefully you enjoyed this video. Leave a comment or a question below. I read all the YouTube comments. Thank you guys so much for subscribing. We're going to be coming to y'all with more great content. And yeah, make sure you subscribe to the Speak Your Way to Cash podcast on Apple Podcasts or the Ashley Nicole Show on YouTube. See you soon.
Yeah. Energy high, excuses low. Energy high, excuses low. Energy high, excuses low. Energy high, excuses low. I need energy, need only good people that's around me. All the faith you can give, that's the recipe.